The living room fell silent as I entered, the scent of cinnamon hanging in the air. My mother's perfect silk blouse and father's crisp collar came into view first. Then I saw them, Ryan and Vanessa, my brother and his wife, sitting closer to our parents than I'd ever been allowed. My father's eyes barely flickered toward me before returning to Ryan's animated story about their ski trip to Colorado. "Melissa," my mother said with a tight smile. "Oh, you brought the children. How lovely. Do come in." No one stood to greet us. David hung our coats, while Emma and Noah hovered near the doorway, sensing they didn't belong. I clutched the tin of homemade gingerbread cookies I'd spent hours baking with the kids. My mother had said they were having some people over, but we could come for a bit. Some people meant only Ryan's entire family. Their cars filled the driveway, laughter spilling from the door before we even knocked. The house looked festive, garland on the banisters, a Christmas tree in the corner. My parents, Ryan, Vanessa, and their 3 kids gathered around the table with hot cider, forming a circle we weren't invited to join. My father gave Noah a distracted, "Hey there," without looking up. Emma didn't get so much as a glance. Meanwhile, Ryan's youngest climbed into Dad's lap, and my mother fussed over Vanessa's designer coat, called her "Gmeinaniggerberger." "We baked these together," I said, placing the cookie tin on the table. My mother barely looked up. "Oh, we've got plenty of sweets, dear." David touched my arm. "Don't take it personally," he murmured, but how could I not? Especially when Vanessa flashed a new designer bracelet that made my mother gasp with delight. We stayed for an hour. My children tried playing with their cousins, but were excluded from games involving expensive tablets. In the car, Noah asked quietly, "Mom, did we do something wrong?" I shook my head. "No, sweetheart, not at all." That night, I couldn't sleep. The way my mother dismissed Emma's questions about the tree decorations stung worst of all. This wasn't indifference. It was dismissal. I wasn't imagining things anymore. 3 days later, my phone lit up with my mother's name. Her voice was uncharacteristically soft. "Hi, Melissa. I didn't want to bother you, but your father's car is making that noise again. We just don't have the extra money right now. If you could help us out, we'd be grateful." I called David into the room. "Do you know how much they need?" "No," I replied, "but I'll find out." This wasn't the first time. Over the years, there had been requests for the water heater, prescriptions, even their dog's surgery, always phrased delicately, and I always helped. What bothered me was that Ryan and Vanessa had money, vacation homes, luxury cars, designer clothes. Ryan ran some investment firm while I clipped coupons and took freelance bookkeeping jobs between laundry cycles. Why did my parents always come to me? I transferred $1,500 to my father's account. "Hope this helps." Her reply came quickly. "You're a blessing, Melissa." "Thank you, sweetheart." It was the first time she'd called me sweetheart in years. That word thawed something inside me. Maybe things were changing. Christmas plans hadn't been discussed, but I was certain we would be invited. After helping them again, surely my parents would want the whole family together. I baked spiced apple muffins and mailed them with cards from the children. I felt hopeful again. That night, I adjusted our budget. David kissed my forehead and said, "You're doing more than your share." I hope they see it. My chest tightened. I hope they saw it too. The week before Christmas, our house hummed with cheerful chaos. David wrapped gifts while the kids drew Christmas cards. The tree sparkled, and cinnamon buns cooled by the window. "Did you get the photo book printed?" I asked. David nodded, holding up a wrapped parcel. Our tradition, a hardcover book of photos from the year. I'd spent hours arranging those pages, my way of saying, "Here's our life. We want to share it with you." "I thought we could drive down Christmas Eve," I said. "I'll bring pies and that cranberry chutney Dad likes." Emma asked, "Can we wear our matching sweaters?" "Of course. Grandma will love it." I hadn't specifically discussed plans with my mother, but Christmas had always been assumed. We'd done it every year, even during snowstorms, even when Emma had a fever once and we had to turn back. When the phone rang that evening, I answered cheerfully. "Melissa," my mother said, "I just wanted to check, are you still planning to come for Christmas?" My heart lifted. "Yes, we're coming the 24th for a couple nights. I made that photo book again, and the kids are so excited. I thought we'd bring pies and—" "Oh," she interrupted. "Well, Ryan and Vanessa are bringing friends this year. A couple they vacationed with in Aspen. With all the kids, it's just going to be too much. The house will be full." I went silent. You know how loud it gets. We'd be sleeping people in the study. "But we always come." "I know, sweetheart, but it's not possible this year." I forced a smile into my voice. "Right, of course. Maybe we can do something in January. Just us girls." Something in me twisted at those words. After hanging up, I stared at the gift pile. David looked over and instantly knew. "We're not going," I said quietly. "They don't have room." Noah, standing in the doorway, asked, "But Grandma said we could come last year. Did she forget?" I shook my head. "No, sweetheart, she didn't forget." That night, I sat at the kitchen table with cold tea, Christmas lights blinking behind me. I didn't cry. I simply waited to feel something other than heavy disappointment. 3 days before Christmas, our house was quieter. Emma kept asking if we were going to Grandma's, and I gave non-committal answers. Then my phone rang. Mom. I almost let it go to voicemail, but answered. "Hi, Mom." "Melissa, I hate to ask again, but your father's back has been acting up. We're thinking of getting an orthopedic recliner. We found one on sale, but you know how tight things are." I closed my eyes. "You want me to pay for it?" "Only if you're able. We wouldn't ask if it weren't important." "I gave you money for the car 2 weeks ago." "I know, and we're grateful." "No, you're not. You didn't even let us come for Christmas." Her voice cooled. "Melissa," I explained, "the house is full. With Ryan's friends." My voice shook. "Not just family, friends. We weren't even a consideration. Ryan works very hard. He needs the break." "So do I snapped. "But you never ask how we're managing. You just call when you need money, and I always send it." "You're being dramatic," she said flatly. "Number, I'm being honest." A long silence. Then my mother sighed deliberately. "Ryan brings joy when he visits. You bring stress. You've always taken things too personally." I was speechless. And yes, we love Ryan's family more. They make us feel alive. They have stories. They don't complain. Vanessa is polished and cheerful. When you visit, it's like walking on eggshells. "You don't ask Ryan for money, do you?" My mother didn't answer. You ask me because you know I won't say no. I don't ask Ryan because I don't want to burden him. He has a business to run. Your life is simpler. If it weren't for us, you wouldn't have what you do. You owe us more than you remember. Cold disbelief washed over me. I owe you. Yes, you wouldn't have finished college without us. When we ask for help, we expect you to step up. That's what family does. After hanging up, I sat motionless. David came in and froze when he saw my face. Melissa? She said they love Ryan's family more and that I owe them for everything. I picked up the photo book, walked to the fireplace, hesitated, then tossed it into the flames. It curled, blackened, and disappeared. In the days that followed, I didn't call my mother. For the first time in years, there was nothing, just silence. 2 mornings before Christmas, my phone rang repeatedly. By the 4th call, I answered out of weariness. Melissa, my mother's voice was falsely chipper. I was wondering when you'd stop sulking. I said nothing. Maybe you could come after all, just you. Leave David and the kids with his family. You could stay in the guest room. Vanessa wouldn't mind switching. I gripped the table edge. It would do you good to have a change of scenery. Spend time with people who care about you. People who care about me, I asked quietly. Yes, you're not yourself lately. I think raising children is making you sensitive. My heart pounded, but my voice came out steady. You want me to abandon my family to grovel for a guest room, already promised to your favorite child? I'm not coming. Not now, not later. You made your choice, and I finally made mine. I was offering you an olive branch. No, you were offering humiliation, I said, and hung up. I opened my banking app and canceled the monthly transfer I'd been sending for 4 years. David came into the kitchen. Everything okay? I'm done. Not sending another cent. Not another favor. Not another explanation. He wrapped his arms around me. Good. I've been waiting for you to say that. That evening, I gathered the children in the living room. I know we're not going to Grandma and Grandpa's this year, but that doesn't mean we can't have a beautiful Christmas. Emma looked worried. Will we still open presents? Of course. And we'll bake cookies, sing songs, and maybe Dad will try to play carols on that guitar he never learned. Noah giggled, and David raised a hand in mock protest. We'll make our own magic right here, just us. It wasn't the Christmas I had planned, but as I tucked my children into bed that night, I felt something I hadn't felt in weeks. Peace. That feeling was worth everything. The days after Christmas were quiet, but joyful. We played board games by candlelight, wore mismatched pajamas, and laughed over burnt cookies. David read by the fire while the kids built cardboard forts. It was calm. It was simple. It was ours. I didn't think about my parents during those days, but on December 29th, while scrolling through recipes, I accidentally tapped on a photo that brought me to Ryan's profile. The photo showed my parents' living room, beautifully decorated. My father sat with a wine glass, Ryan beside him, Vanessa on the armrest. My mother smiled, holding Ryan's youngest daughter. The caption, grateful for family. There's nothing more important. My stomach twisted. I kept scrolling. Videos of singing around the piano, a snowball fight, my mother toasting to having the whole family under one roof. That word, whole, burned. There was no mention of us. It was as though we didn't exist. Later, my phone rang. with an unknown number. It was Ryan. "Hey, sis, long time." "Listen," he continued, "Mom asked me to call. She's confused about how long you plan on being upset over the Christmas thing." "Is that what she said?" I asked calmly. "Yeah. She said you've always been sensitive." "You saw the photos?" Ryan added. "It was a great night. Vanessa said it felt like a proper family again." My throat tightened. "Ryan, do you hear yourself? A proper family, because we weren't there." "Come on, Melissa. Don't twist everything. Mom doesn't need this drama." "This drama? You mean me asking not to be excluded?" "You weren't excluded exactly, girl. We were told there wasn't room, yet there was room for guests, for toasts about having the whole family. Except we weren't included." Ryan went quiet, then suggested, "Maybe next year you can stay at a hotel. Mom just didn't want stress." I laughed softly. She got what she wanted. No stress, no reminders of the parts of the family that aren't shiny and perfect. That's not fair. No, what's not fair is that I spent years helping them while you went skiing, that I showed up every time and still wasn't good enough. I didn't call to fight. Number you called because she thought I'd cave if you played peacemaker. Tell her I'm not upset. I'm finished. I hung up and watched Noah and Emma building snowmen with David. This is my family now. What family gatherings are you fixing? Ryan called the next day. He must have gotten my new number from an old family friend who didn't know the situation. No, I said. I'm correcting one. Then I hung up. This time I didn't sit in silence. I walked back inside, poured myself a coffee, and joined my family on the porch. Emma handed me a snowball with a giggle, and for the first time in years, I smiled without guilt. The following weeks passed like the slow stretch of early spring, light returning little by little, though the air was still cold. I began noticing small but powerful changes in myself, the way I no longer hesitated to buy myself flowers at the market, how I started journaling again, how the house, once filled with quiet pressure to please others, now felt lighter. I blocked my mother's number, then Ryan's, then my father's, not out of anger, but necessity. I changed my number too, sharing it only with close friends who wouldn't pass it along. For the first time, I created a space where their voices couldn't reach. I didn't announce it, didn't explain. I simply stepped away. David noticed the difference too. "You're sleeping better," he said one morning as I stirred oatmeal for the kids. I smiled and kissed his shoulder. I threw myself into small joys, movie nights with the children, a new coat of paint in the hallway, even taking on a few more clients in my bookkeeping work, on my terms, with boundaries. I no longer felt guilty about it. 3 months passed. I heard through a mutual acquaintance that my parents had asked Ryan for money after I cut them off, and he'd reluctantly started giving them loans that they never seemed to repay. One afternoon in March, while at a small cafe waiting for a client, I saw Ryan's name pop up in my email inbox. No subject line, just, "Hey, can we talk for a moment?" I swear it's not about Mom. Out of pure curiosity, I agreed. We met at a park near my home. I chose a public place on purpose. No pressure, no cornering, just clarity. Ryan looked the same, expensive jacket, confident posture, but there was something off about his expression, a bit more careful. He sat on the bench beside me. I didn't come to fight, he said quickly. I think we owe each other a straight conversation. I waited. Mom's still upset, he added, but she's not calling anymore. I think she finally got the message. I raised an eyebrow. That I'm not her insurance policy? He looked down, chuckled awkwardly, something like that. I folded my arms. Tell me something honestly, Ryan. Did Dad ever get that medical chair she said he needed? Ryan shook his head. Number, his back's fine. Always was. I blinked. She lied? I don't know if it was a lie or a guilt tactic, but yeah, he's walking fine. Still driving. Still playing cards every Thursday. No mention of pain. A quiet settled between us. And have you given them money lately? I asked. Ryan looked away. No, I haven't. And to be honest, they've never asked me. They're asking now, though, aren't they? I said knowingly. That's part of why you're here. I nodded slowly, my stomach twisting, not with sadness, but release. I had known, deep down, but now it was said out loud. I spent years carrying them, I said, more to myself than to him, quietly thinking it made me good, thinking maybe someday they'd see me. Ryan didn't answer. I'm done trying to be seen by people who never wanted to look, I added. He nodded a bit sheepishly. You look better now. Lighter. I am. We didn't hug when we parted. There was no speech, just a nod. And then I turned and walked away. I didn't look back. That evening, I took out my phone and scrolled through old texts and photos, not with pain, but with a quiet sense of finality. I deleted my parents' thread entirely, then Ryan's. Then I opened a new message and sent it to David. Let's plan something special for Easter. Just us, our real family. Later, as I tucked the children into bed, Emma whispered, I liked Christmas at home. Can we do it like that again? I brushed my daughter's hair behind her ear. Yes, sweetheart, from now on, it's going to be just like that, every holiday, every time. I turned off the light and stood in the hallway for a moment, letting the silence settle in around me. Not empty this time, but full. Full of the life I had chosen, the peace I had claimed, and the love I had always deserved.